Cameron actually did it. Cameron actually made the most logical move of the season, or at least one of the only logical moves of the season, nominating Felicia and Izzy to break up the power structure. Finally, someone takes a real shot in this game. Last night when it seemed like Cameron was once again contemplating playing it safe, putting up Blue and Jag, even though it didn't make a lick of sense as to why he should do that again and play safe. I was thinking, is he just this dumb for real? Because, like I said yesterday, playing it safe makes no sense for Cam at this point. I was thinking maybe he wants to play it safe because he just wants to try and win out, and taking out Jag can make it easier for him to be the person winning physical comps going forward with Jag out of the house. But still, it felt dumb to be that safe. But thankfully, Cam actually had a plan, and a plan that makes sense for the most part. If Cam is going to have to win out, which at this point I do think Cam is going to have to do a lot of winning if he's going to make it really deep in this game, then he has nothing to lose anyway. He's already at the bottom. We saw that yesterday when it was dead quiet when he won HOH. Everybody gave it away, not doing a very good job, faking it after his win, after he was just blindsided with the vote. So he literally had nothing to lose, so why not make a big move like this? And we really haven't seen a big move like this in quite a while on Big Brother, in my opinion. Probably Big Brother 21, even though I didn't even watch that entire season. But Jessica did try and make a big move that season at least. So now Cam shooting at a power structure. It's nice to see, actually. As much grief as we give Cam for being creepy, which we're going to talk about a lot today, he made a big move and he deserves the credit for being the person to do that. Now, it shouldn't be surprising that the person with the most delusional confidence in the house is the person to take this shot. I think it fits the character we've seen of Cam, where he is so delusional that he thinks he's the mastermind. Maybe this week he actually is. Now, there's still some weaknesses to this little idea of his. Mostly that I do think he trusts Jared a lot. He obviously probably trusts Bowie the most because they were both left out of the vote last night, but he does have a lot of trust for Jared. Going over his plan with Jared today, or at least some of it, that he wanted to not tell anybody what's going on because he didn't really trust anybody. He didn't know who to trust, and that was smart of Cam. He was blindsided yesterday. Nobody celebrated when he won, so who can he really trust? So he didn't tell anybody what his real plan was. And then putting up Izzy and Felicia to tell them both that they're the pawn this week and see what information they spill. Felicia did a lot of spilling. Izzy didn't buy what Cameron was selling and thinks she is his target. Izzy would not be the house target if this stays Izzy versus Felicia. Izzy's playing it well so far for somebody who a lot of us thought might go crazy if she's on the block. I think she's playing it well so far because she knows she would stay if it stays her versus Felicia on the block. So, yeah, with Cameron, two things can be true. I think Cameron made a huge move that we all needed to see, and he deserves credit for that. But at the same time, I don't really think he's playing necessarily well overall yet. His social game has left a lot to be desired. He has some people who want to work with him. The person that wants to work with him most is the same person that allegedly said he made her feel uncomfortable, that being America, which we're going to get a lot into soon. But for now, I think Cameron still could be played by Jared. Jared continues to play one of the best social games in the house because of he has the quality that Suri has of getting people to trust him and getting people to buy what he's selling. Jared is very good at that. But I think overall, there's still this sense that maybe there's even more to Cam's plan. Is he going to put up Suri if one of Izzy or Felicia comes down, and that makes the most sense from all that we've heard from Cam over the past week, that there is this power structure of three, and I do think he thinks that Cirie is the main problem, although he could now think that Felicia is the main problem. But it makes logical sense that if one comes down, he would put up Cirie. Why is he not telling anybody this? Now, in putting up Cirie, I just don't... there is a lack of logic there from Cameron in this instance. It comes back down to, I guess, that he has nothing to lose, so why not put her up? But if he was actually playing this smart, and people are going to like this because they want a shot taken at Cirie, but everybody's telling him that, well, not everybody, but most people are telling him that they like Cirie and they trust Cirie. So in theory, Cameron should know that if he puts Cirie on the block, Cirie's not going home. So is now the time to take a shot at Cirie if she's not going to go home? Probably not. So I wouldn't myself see that as good gameplay from Cameron, honestly, because it doesn't make sense for Cameron's game if he thinks he's actually going to be able to build something with her. Now, is he really going to be able to build something with her? Honestly, I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility the way Cirie has played this season, turning on her own allies every week and butting up with everybody. Cirie could, in theory, work with Cam for a little while. See, that's the thing with Cirie's game. She'll work with you for a little while. Sometimes a very little while, but a little while. I kind of see both sides, I guess. Cam has nothing to lose, so why not put up Cirie if one of them comes down? But if you're not going to get her out, you're kind of just severing any relationship there, because it's not like Cirie ever put him up on the block. Cirie has not been HOH. Felicia did put him up, and Felicia and Izzy both eating a lot of crow for that HOH where Felicia was HOH, targeting Hisam, putting up Hisam versus Cameron, and voting out Hisam. It was stupid of Felicia on her HOH to do that and play into her partners in crime's paranoia that week, when just a few weeks later they've already turned on her. And for Izzy, Hisam was going to go deep in the game with Izzy, so Izzy voting out Hisam that week over Cameron, egg on her face as well. So they are reaping the bad gameplay. Cirie is as well. They deserve the karma that's coming their way for their bad gameplay, especially that week. Now with Cirie, as sloppy as she plays, two things can be true. I'm going to say that a lot this episode, I think. Two things are true about Cirie's game. She's played very sloppy, but not only does she have a good social game, but she's very good at kind of having safety nets, not just because of the numbers, but because this past week, just the past few days, really, she put this big target on Felicia. And so even yesterday, trying to blame the vote of Red going on Felicia, when actually the last few hours before the eviction, Felicia was the one trying to save Red. That's another thing that Cameron and Bowie are dumb about, buying into that. They think too that Felicia was the one spearheading that, when she was actually the one spearheading Red to try and stay along with Mimi, but they don't buy that from Felicia. So that is something they are also falling victim to, poor information, buying the lies. But Cirie did a good job of now putting that target on Felicia this week to maybe keep both herself and Izzy safe. The real drama will happen if Izzy and Cirie end up on the block together. Will Izzy then spiral and rat out the whole Jared and Cirie connection? We will see. One thing about Izzy today, though, telling Cirie that she would, if she wins veto, she might not use the veto on herself. I don't really understand that logic. I think that would be extreme. Hopefully she was not necessarily telling the truth or just running over scenarios like she likes to do too much of. But let's talk about the more controversial subjects, shall we? Once again, two things can be true. This time about Cameron. The reason I always say Cameron is a creep goes back to the first 2 weeks with Riley, because he was definitely a creep with Riley. The whole "you have my daughter's eyes, you remind me of my daughter" is a weird thing to say to a woman in the first place, in my opinion. It's babying them. But when you go and do that while also obviously having an attraction for them, it's definitely creepy. Like, that is just... ugh. I, however, don't think Cameron's been that creepy with America. I'm sorry. I haven't seen it. I see the AmeriCorey stands reaching with a lot of what Cameron has done. But America's game, 80% of her game, if not more, has been flirting. That is her entire game. She's flirted with Jag, flirted with Cameron, flirted with Corey now. So, yes, Cameron has had some jealousies, I think, towards Corey and America's connection, because America used to flirt with him and cuddle with him in this game. America has said that Cam makes her uncomfortable, and yet this week, now that Cameron is HOH, she feels very comfortable working with Cameron, now praising Cameron for making this big move. And you can say, well, America still has to play the game. Sure, whatever. The most annoying part is the hypocrisy, because America has been the real creep in this house over the past couple weeks when it comes to her and Corey's showmance, whatever it is, because she continues to pressure Corey into things, or try to, especially with the kiss. And last night, she was trying to pressure Corey again. And if the roles were reversed, if Jag was doing this to America, who once said he had a crush on her, if Jag was trying to pressure America into kissing her all the time, and America didn't want to, or America says, like Corey says, that he doesn't want to do this in the house, you best believe social media would be running wild that Jag is this big creep. If Corey was doing the same to America, they would be running with that story too. So why is there always a double standard? Now, I'm not going to go as far as some has said, comparing her to Alyssa and Kyle last season, when a lot of us were calling out Alyssa for being a predator with Kyle, because there is a big difference, to me anyway, of trying to pressure someone into sex, like Alyssa did to Kyle last season, and trying to pressure someone into a kiss. I do think there is a big difference there. Both still predator behavior, however. And so America continuing to do that with Corey, when he has said multiple times now that he does not want to do this in the house, that is predator behavior. And the AmeriCorey stands are hypocrites anyway, because the last several weeks now, they've been saying Cameron's a big creep because of the way he is with America. Cameron is a huge creep. You know, they're always trying to ruin people. Same with Jared and the R word towards America. But there is a double standard now, clearly seeing that now that America is comfortable with working with Cameron, suddenly they're going to start liking Cameron. I hate the way this fandom does this. It's a bigger social media problem, yes. But the fandom specifically, I think a big problem is that the biggest voices, the majority of people on social media when it comes to Big Brother fans are women and people of the LGBTQ community. And what happens is the really extreme stands of people, especially now the AmeriCorey stands this season, will try and ruin people like Cameron and Jared. And then the women on social media jump aboard, the LGBTQ community jump aboard, because they're all like, oh, identity politics, let's jump aboard because this is all we know how to do on social media, even though social media isn't real life. And there's this big thing on social media that men are trash. And I'm not going to sit here and defend men at all times, because men can be trash in relationships. Not that women can't, however. But men can be trash in relationships and out of relationships, sure. I think in this community, a big problem this season and with the cancel culture is everybody wants to... As soon as a man does something, it's so wrong and it's so bad that they have to be canceled, if not kicked out of the house. The fan base has attacked every single man this season at some point, except for maybe Jag. Meanwhile, and I've called this hypocrisy out all season, when Felicia's being sexist, nobody wanted to call that out early in the season, when she was talking shit about Kirsten and Blue, nobody wanted to call that out when it came to Felicia talking her shit about the sexism. Now nobody wants to call America out for her predatory behavior with Corey. And, with Corey, two things can be true. I don't like Corey's energy. I think it's pretty pathetic. He's 21 years old, almost 22. He's probably never been kissed. It's too cringy for me, but if he's uncomfortable with that going on in the house, especially if it is his first kiss and he doesn't want that in the Big Brother house, then you should not be pushing him to do that. And I think that is very wrong of America. But yeah, I am sick of the double standards, even with the R word. We've gone over that, how Kirsten said it, Felicia said it, Heisem allegedly said it, and nobody made a big deal out of those. But when Jared, the straight male, the straight black male, said it, oh my God, it was the worst thing to ever happen, allegedly. The double standard, I'm sick of it. Even on YouTube, you don't get the straight male perspective enough, because Rob has a podcast, they all toe the company line, and if they didn't toe the company line, then Brent would still be on, because he was the only one that actually went against the grain on that channel. He's not straight, but still, he used to at least go against the grain on that channel. But now, there's only about 4 of us straight guys on YouTube that aren't on Rob Has a Podcast, and so I don't think you get enough of the perspective of what's actually going on in the house, enough of the hypocrisy being called out with the double standard. So for me, the creepiest person in the house right now is America. So the America stands, the AmeriCorey stands, whatever, you're all a bunch of hypocrites anyway, because now you actually want to root for Cameron because he's actually the one that made the big move, when you just spent 2 weeks trying to cancel the guy for alleged behavior that you found to be predatory, when now America's doing the same thing to Corey. Isn't that a shame? That's why you all should probably not get too caught up in identity politics when it comes to social media. As for Cameron, though, big ups to him for being the person to pull a trigger on a big move this season. There could be an even bigger thing with Cirie being put on the block this week. I will say I felt like maybe Matt saved Cirie today in his conversation with Cameron. I think Cameron wants to trust Matt. I don't know if he still does. Matt did make a point to say to Cameron that he and Cirie wanted to make the vote 6-4 for Red, but that wouldn't have been enough anyway, so they didn't want targets on them, so they didn't do it. Will Cameron take that as a reason to not put up Cirie? We'll see. I don't think... I mean, it's hard to say, because if it's Cirie versus Izzy and the truth comes out about Cirie and Jared being related, does Cirie then get the boot? Maybe. It's possible. I think that's the only scenario where I see Cirie going home. If it's Cirie versus Felicia, Felicia's going home. If it's Felicia versus Izzy, Felicia's going home. If it's Felicia versus probably anyone at this point, Felicia's probably going home. And that was because of the groundwork that Cirie did do these past few days. But yeah, Felicia, Izzy on the block. I want Izzy to stay because I think she is still one of my favorite people in the house. We'll see if she does end up staying. But I'm glad that Cameron made this move because this is the best day of feeds since like week 2, in my opinion. Anyway, just my little humble opinion.